Video review.
Imagine a game with a huge open world filled with dozens of unique vehicles and attacks that let you cause destruction whenever and wherever you choose. Now imagine game-crippling bugs, brain-dead AI, unsatisfying gunplay, a lousy story, and repetitive missions. That's Mercenaries 2: World in Flames. You play as one of 3 mercenaries, all of whom are basically the same and have the same storyline. The game follows your absurd quest for vengeance on a man that hired you to do a job and didn't pay. Mercs 2's story is bad, as is the voice acting, but it's ultimately inconsequential, and all the cutscenes can be skipped.
I have great plans for Venezuela.
So it's me against a bunch of VZ soldiers.
That's it.
The first few missions are designed to get you accustomed to the game's third-person shooting action. In the span of 30 minutes or so, you'll shoot several different weapons, use grenades and C4, drive cars, boats, and jeeps as you secure what will eventually become your home base. After that, the first few contracts you take on aren't too bad. It's after the first hour or so that you'll start to notice problems. For a game that's all about guns, actually firing said guns isn't terribly satisfying. Weapons feel weak, it's difficult to hit moving targets, and the damage they cause is inconsistent. In fact, it's easier to hijack a tank or grapple onto a flying helicopter and see that same cutscene than it is to destroy one. Heavier weapons like RPGs are great and can destroy nearly anything they hit, but their ammunition, which for some reason you have to hit a button to pick up, is so limited you won't be able to use them often. You'll earn a ton of different airstrikes, but they're of limited value because you can't get close enough or can't avoid being shot long enough to line up the target. If it's not either of those, there always seems to be either something you're supposed to protect or something stopping you from transmitting. It's just easier to go in and shoot everybody. The game's version of Venezuela is absolutely enormous, but this is mostly to its detriment. There's not a whole lot to do, so you'll be tempted to make your own fun, blowing up buildings, cars, and terrorizing towns in a tank. While this might be enticing, it's a bad idea because not only are you penalized for harming civilians, but one stray bullet can anger an entire faction. The large world also means that unless you're able to use the instant transport option, which only takes you to certain locations, it takes forever to get from one place to the next. To make matters worse, when you're killed after hitting a checkpoint, you typically have to go back to your home base or the outpost where you got the mission and then travel all the way back to your target. The game purports to give you all sorts of freedom when it comes to how you enact your revenge, but in reality, your choices are few. Most of the contracts require you to take over an outpost for a faction, and when the game does give you the chance to do something else, it's limited to annoying escort missions or out-of-place racing challenges. Capturing outposts is extremely repetitive. While the size and shape of the bases may vary slightly, the way you attack them is the same. Kill everyone inside and call in a landing crew. This can be mildly amusing for a short time, but the fun quickly grinds to a halt as the game's bevy of bugs and problems make themselves apparent. Enemy AI is horrific. If you find yourself injured, you can run behind a building to regenerate your health. The soldiers won't make much of an effort to find you. They won't even go to great lengths to shoot you if you're right next to them, often standing there oblivious as you shoot them. When you have to destroy a specific piece of equipment or vehicle, sometimes the easiest thing to do is stand next to or get inside of it, let the bad guys blow up the very thing they're supposed to be protecting. Really, the only fun to be had with Mercenaries 2 is playing cooperatively with a friend online. It makes the game, which other than all the cheap deaths, is pretty easy, even easier.
Ooh, a tank is so expensive. It's so easy to hijack.
Mercenary 2's visuals are inconsistent. The Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 versions of the game are mostly similar, but the PS3 has some ugly aliasing problems. The game's bread and butter, its explosions, are generally disappointing. Some of them look fantastic, but it's jarring how one animation transitions to the next when something blows up. There aren't a whole lot of different buildings to destroy either, so you end up seeing the same explosions over and over again. Clipping, pop-in, repetitive buildings, enemies that all look alike, right down to the same terrible animation when they get shot, and a drab color palette round out the package. Mercenaries 2 is filled with bugs and glitches that are unacceptable in a retail release. Even if it was possible to overlook the broken stuff, you're still left with abysmal AI, repetitive mission structure, unsatisfying weapons, and a huge world with not much to do. There are so many other fantastic open-world action games, including the original Mercenaries for PS2 and Xbox, that there's no reason to spend your time and money on this clearly unfinished game.